Welcome back to another stock market open live stream. Well, thank you, Bank of Japan, for the long positions, because boy, yesterday we had some red in the post market. It really seemed like things were gonna open up red today. Take a look at this. This right here is Tesla as an example. This is what we were thinking for Tesla. We closed at 201, which was up about 89 basis points. It was about 264 actually. But anyway, in the post market, we went all the way down here to 195. In other words, going from 264 to 195 is a drop of about 2.8%. We had a 2.8% decline in Tesla stock going into the close. And what happened? The Bank of Japan happened and propped it all right back up. Now, I have some concerns on the market moving on Japan, but the idea is, hey, look, maybe we get to unwind this fearful and scary thing called that Japanese carry trade, and maybe things just won't actually end up being that bad. Who knows, maybe Iran won't go to war, and maybe we won't fall into a recession. This is where everything gets exciting again. People are like, yes, the Fed is bailing us out. Well, no, they're not. And they won't. But it's pretty good. You're getting somebody else doing your bidding for you. You now at the good old Bank of Japan doing all the hard work for you. Which, hey, whatever. It boosts the longs, I suppose. But wow, I will say, there was some unexpectedness in that, no doubt here. But with that, let's go jump into what some of these other stocks are doing right now and see what we got here. So let's find out. Looks to me like we've still got Redfin on earnings down about 7.8%. Reddit goes positive. They were negative after earnings as well quite a bit. They were down at 51 bucks. So that would have brought them down another, actually about 6% really. You've got Rivian that's staying negative on the report. Unfortunately, Rivian dropping all the way down to 1346 after earnings here. Kind of a bummer for Rivian. You know, it is your competitor for Tesla vehicles. Notice I specifically said vehicles, not the other lines of the businesses, but there are a lot of people who shop those as well. Then you've got, let's see here, TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor and Airbnb, they don't care about the Bank of Japan. They decided, you know what, we're gonna keep being sad. And that's what we got here. We got TripAdvisor down 14.5, Airbnb's down 13.6. Super Microcomputer down 14.2, which actually took Nvidia down with it into the close yesterday. You closed at 104.25, and then you bottomed at 101.50 in the pre-market, or post-market rather. So you were gonna open up down about also 3%. And what do you end up having here? Oh, take a peek at that. Bank of Japan bails out Nvidia too, up to 106.54 now. So this same thing happened with the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100 crashes into the close on increasing volume. In post-market, we go from 439 to the 435.34 line, which is down about another percent. So you were down about 1% in post-market there on the Qs. And now you're up about 1.3. So total U-turn there, thanks and heavily in part to the BOJ. So good for them, I suppose. Anyway, Robinhood does report earnings today. They are up 3.14. So we'll be looking for Robinhood earnings today. We also have, let's see here. Who do we have after the bell today? And then we'll look at who we've got before the bell. So after the bell, we have Robinhood, Dutch Bros, Duolingo, Monster Beverage. Oh, I thought they were going to report last week. Well, Zillow, Root, Upwork. Upwork's going to be interesting. I wonder how that jobs market is doing from an Upwork point of view. You know, what kind of sort of discretionary labor is needed versus permanent labor. And I mean, I use Upwork. I think Upwork's great when we need, you know, somebody specific and you know, remote potentially. Upwork's great. But we'll see. That'll all be after the bell. So we'll find out what goes on there. None of those super exciting. We do this morning, though, have some earnings that came out. We have Shopify, Disney, Lyft. Now, Disney's an interesting one because yesterday they announced raising some prices, but they were also adding features. So it's kind of unclear how to take it. And it's like, all right, well, you're raising prices, but you're adding features. Okay. So Disney EPS did beat, and Q3 revenue beat. Their entertainment business beat on operating income substantially. They had slightly fewer Hulu and live TV subs than they expected. 4.4 mil versus 4.49. Let's see here. Combined streaming businesses achieve profitability. Well, that's great. Disney Plus core subscribers to grow modestly in Q4. Q3 subs beat a little bit. And experiences slightly missed. That's interesting. Those would be your parks. And they say the ad market is incredibly healthy, but they are noticing lower income consumers spending less at the parks. What else here? Okay. Then let's go with shop. Shop. And then at the same time, I want to write down some of these things here. So, okie dokie. Yes. So, there we go. Shopify. All right, Shopify Q2 revenue slightly beats. Adjusted EPS slightly beats. And then in Q3, they expect to grow in the low mid-20s%. Okay, that was the stock. Oh, wow, look at that. Shopify's up 18% on this beat. Okay, let's write this down. So, Shopify. What's the scoop here? Shopify. Oh, this should be good for Etsy. 67.25 billion of gross volume versus the 65.73 expected. So 6725. Let's see what kind of beat that is. That's about a 2.3% beat on vol. You have about a 2% beat on rev. 205 bill versus 201, about 2% beat. And then expecting higher margin in Q3 and revenue up 21 to 24% year over year in Q3. Let's see here. Quarterly. Okay. It's actually pretty good. Now let's go to Disney. I think that we already mentioned Disney, but I just quickly want to say combined streaming biz profitable. Expecting modest core subscriber growth in Q4. Poor individuals spending less at parks. Okay. Next. So this is what's the fair value of Shop? Well, take a little bit more of an analysis, but I think they're profitable now. Yeah, they are. So 54.22 divided by I mean, well, they're trading for 54 times. You're expecting let's see. You're expecting about 26% growth per year. So you're about a 2 peg. It's not unreasonable. Oh, well, now it's up at 64. But that's okay. I mean, that's not much of a difference. Let me see here. 64. I guess it is. Puts you at like a 2-4 peg. Which is probably also reasonable for software. Get them to about 2.5 is usually what I see. So you pop kind of back up to reasonable. Okay. How did Lyft do? Let's take a peek here. Lifty Difty. Oof. Lyft's down 13%. Lyft gross booking slightly missed. Gross booking slight miss at 402. 402 bill versus 407 bill. And active riders slightly beat. Q2 rides slightly miss. Net beat. Adjusted net beat 98.9 mil versus 67.3. That's pretty good. Oh, their forecast missed. So expecting, let's see here, 4.05 billion of bookings in Q3. Missing estimate of 4.14 by 2.18%. Okay. It's not that big of a miss, but market don't like misses. Okay. Let's see. Ralph Lauren and Wix. Wix? Wix? Fix? Wix. Wiki Wix. That's it. Okay, Ralph Lauren. Let's see here. Okay. Oops. Fix that. There we go. Okay, Ralph Lauren comes in with Q1 slight beat. Q1 slight beat on rev, and adjusted EPS actually beat kind of nicely. 270 versus 247, 9.3%. So looks good for Ralph Lauren. Comp sales actually up more than expected. However, their fiscal year, not as great. Fiscal year rev expected to be up 2.5%. It's pretty low. Estimate was 3.06%. I wonder what the, like, how expensive a clothing designer is right now. I mean, they're barely growing, but 164.95 divided by 5.6. Wow, 29 times earnings for Ralph Lauren. And they're flat. 29 times earnings for a company that's growing 8%. There, that's an expensive one. Wow. And then Wix. Kind of matches. Oh. Well, nothing scary there. Okay, that's up 4.99 on that. Okay. Well, decent earnings. Give it to them. All right. What do they got? Oh, former. Oh, okay. I don't care about that. Okay, good. So now let's see what the suits have to say about Japan. So far, it looks to me like they're bailing everything out. Ooh, Disney's dropping now. Not sure why. And the Qs and NVIDIA continue to rise here. Now, what I'll be looking for is how robust is this rally today? Because it is on the back of Japan. See, that's what they meant with BOJ. Back of Japan. U.S. stocks are likely headed for more spikes and volatility. Say the doomers here. All right, doomers. Why? Let's see what they say. Volatility. Let's see here. Okay, right. So this is just another way of basically saying, Doomer, well, okay, so Doomers expect that after Monday, we'll have more Monday-like bouts, usually after the VIX spikes the way it did. More turbulence occurred in the short run. Now, this is very similar to what T.S. Lombard was analyzing, where they said, yeah, you're probably looking at another 4 to 6 weeks of volatility. T.S. Lombard suggested 4 to 6 weeks of higher vol. I think probably closer to 10, and that's because of 10 to 13, and that's because of the election. My guess is 10 to 13 due to election. Okay, okay. All right. Investors are focused on protecting against potential further declines in stocks. More hedging happening. This makes sense. Turnaround Tuesday wasn't just a knee jerk. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. We already talked about Turnaround Tuesday. Yeah, when are we actually going to disinvert? Let's see where we sit now on the 210. It seems like we've been inverting more lately here. Fed is next to capitulate? Yeah, right, man. What basis? So, 2's 10. 210, we are looking at -6. -6.554 inverted. And then let's look at what we're looking at for rate cuts. Okay. September has 1.7 cuts priced in. So not a full 50 BP priced in, but by November you're pricing in 2. Or sorry, 3. And then December is pricing in 4.2. January's pricing in 5. Alright. Cool. Very cool. So, Airbnb's trying to rise to the 112 level here. Let's see where we got some technicals on these. Oof. You're in no man's land on super micro. Really far from anything technical here. Airbnb 13. I don't have lines on TripAdvisor. Reddit goes positive. Tesla's trying to play positive today. So volatility should be down again. Probably another 10% or something. I actually think it'll show up right now. Nope. That's just yesterday's vol. Okay. Q's good at 1.5. End phase, 4%. Nice. What's this? CrowdStrike. Wow, CrowdStrike wants to pick up a bid here. It seems like it's going for about that 245 level, huh? Palantir up, wow, after being, I mean, it was up about 15% after earnings, 13 to 15%, ran up about 10%, then it's up about 1.5. You got Apple, Google, Amazon, all of these are up about 2%. Not bad. Microsoft back over 400. Okay. Dell's down. It's not a surprise. AMD's up a couple percent. IWM's up a little bit. Yeah, things seem kind of happy, honestly. Now, question is, will it last? Let's see what BTC signals. I mean, BTC was okay with that bailout as well. You know, you hold on. Where? Give me my timing right here. I thought it was on the 30-minute for a moment. So, the Japan bailout happened right about here. So, the Japanese bailout moved you up on the 500 moving average on the 5-minute. So, that's interesting. So, the 5-minute 200 moving average SMA is going to squeeze you here to either break above 57,580 and break out, or you're going to lose that moving average. So that'll be interesting. Oh, I screwed up the title, huh? Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, I think that's because I was awake past, what's it called? Midnight. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, tomorrow. Whatever. So. All right. Somebody says still 2.5, still 2.5. Yeah, you know, nothing's really changed since last Friday. If anything, the ISM numbers on Monday made me a little bit more convinced that the Fed's going to wait too long to cut. So, but nothing, like, the Japanese stuff doesn't change my opinion really at all about where I am on the bull-bear scale. You know, that's just, I think all the Japanese stuff is just nonsense. I do question, reasonably here, okay, reasonably, I don't think this sort of, like, pre-market rally off of the back of Japan is that sustainable. The Nikkei didn't sustain its rally either. I mean, look, it still ended green, up 1.19. But what you could see is the Bank of Japan bailed out markets right here at around the 10:30 hour or time frame. You popped up to as high as, what do we got here? As high as about 3% up at one point. And you kind of bled a little bit and lost that, only ending up about 1.19. So, again, while I'm curious to see how robust this rally will be in the AM for U.S. stocks, I suppose I'll probably, I mean, it depends what the trends are, but I think I'll probably be leaning towards patience this morning. You know, yesterday I bought calls at open. I don't know if I'm going to do that today. I think I might look for a downtrend stock instead and see if it's worth adding, you know, a short or something. I think there'll be more wind at, you know, let there be a little rally or whatever, and then it bleeds. I'm not sure, obviously, but that wouldn't surprise me. So, like, you know, how many more selling bids are we going to get on Super Micro, for example? So, or Airbnb. Will Airbnb hold this line? I think that's probably what I'm going to be paying attention to. Oh, I'm not showing it. So Super Micro, Airbnb. I'll watch Bitcoin to see if it can hold this line. Obviously, I'll watch the Qs. I want to see if Apple is actually going to hold green today, because lately it's just been getting punished. Oh yeah, obviously we'll see if Tesla can hold green, and so far it doesn't even look like it can hold green in the pre-market, which is bad. Nvidia, yeah, if Nvidia falters, everything will falter, I suspect. Yeah. So, we'll see. We shall see. What do you have this morning? Kahlua like me? I mean, coffee like me?
By about 1.8% in today's session. That's where we are at the moment. Given a nudge by the Bank of Japan Deputy Governor. That gives a nudge to all of this. Equities up by more than 1% on the S&P 500. Treasuries down and yields higher, up by 3 basis points, 392.78 on a US 10-year. As we count you down to the opening bell, about 1 hour and 9 minutes away, let's get to the trading diary, the calendar for today and the rest of this week. Vice President Harris and Tim Walz hitting the campaign trail, holding rallies in Wisconsin and Michigan this afternoon. J.D. Vance planning to mirror their route throughout this week.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody here says, rally 30 minutes, then rugged. Interesting. Institution, it'll be huge. Kevin, what will make you switch from recession camp to it's just a cyclical slowdown? Lack of firing. So, and the concern is a cyclical slowdown is going to destroy AI. The AI trade, right? Not like actually the underlying AI. So that's going to take a lot of valuation. Now, you could have the S&P 500 broaden out. You know, the other 493 could move on the S&P 500, and you know, the AI trade bleeds out, and it's fine. I think I would really need to make a bet that this is just sort of like cyclical volatility rather than a recession. Honestly, I'm convinced sort of to wait until right before the recession. Right before the election. Yeah, and I'm not gonna wait until after the election. So if we're not in election, geez, my words, it's too early for this crap. If we're not in a recession by Halloween, I'll probably load the boat, because I do think I'll have some cheap entry points between now and then, but I'll be watching really closely what happens, because we're going to have 2 jobs reports between now and then. We'll have the September and October jobs report. We'll have July, August, September CPI. I'm not worried about CPI. CPI is not in play for me. CPI is, look, I personally have next to zero concerns about inflation. I really think we're back to the 40-year trend of disinflation, and I know Steve is going to show up with his gold and say you're wrong, and that's fine. Everybody gets their opinion. A lot of people are second-wave inflation believers. I don't think so. So I will be happy in my patience, at least until right before the election. I'm not going to wait until after the election. I will make my decision right before the election. So, I have over 100K in cash at the moment. Can I have it? But starting to lock up on making any plays as of late. I am not usually a person that locks up, but now I am confused to waiting or getting in small. You know, this is not personalized advice, but here's what I would say. If you're in a position like that where you're like, all right, well, I get it. Like, I want to have the cash, but I don't really want to miss an upside here. What I would probably do is just go for, here, this is what I would do. I would go into December for the Qs, and I would get like a $500 call. You know, go over here and get yourself a $500 call, or something out of the money, right? And you know, if it goes in the money, it's up at least probably 50%, if not a double actually. 500's 26, at the money is 50. Yeah, it's a double. You know, so or you know, get something more aggressive, as in you know, maybe you don't even have to go out that far. Oh, sorry, that was December of 2025, next year. My bad. I'm telling you, it's too early. The coffee hasn't hit. Oh, this should be a lot cheaper then. Okay, here we go. So you get a December call for $500. It's $5. It's gonna cost you like closer to $6. Call it $580. $580 at the midpoint. Put a limit in for it, and at the money is $30, bro. So if you want to upside hedge, $580. You go, call it 30. Where are we sitting right now? Yeah, you're probably about 31-ish bucks. 31 divided by 565. Bro, 5.6x on your money right there. So put 10 grand on a December call option, you know, and if it goes, if the Qs rally to 500, well, hell, you just made some real dollar hollers, you know? And you don't even have to pick a freaking stock. So there's your upside hedge. All right, what else here? Doesn't the steepening of the 210 lead to a recession with the next 18 months? Well, the inversion usually does. The steepening is usually the beginning of the recession. No. Do you have concerns about Japanese inflation? No. Don't you think gold will moon when the Fed starts cutting rates? Not necessarily. So, if we go into recession, yes. If recession, yes. But if no recession, gold won't necessarily go up. So, we shall see. Ay, ay, ay. Nobody knows. All right, I'm bored. Give me something to do. Where's some news? Do we have no economic news at all? Gabriel Green. I buy and sell gold and silver for a living. I think we are going full recession. My opinion. IMHO. Using SMCI for your argument wasn't the best choice because it was around $200 at the start of the year and ballooned to $12.29. Super micro is just an example in the AI space or AI affected space. I mean, look at Dell, right? And I actually talked about Dell as well. Look at Dell. Dell, you know, also you could say the same thing theoretically here. January, I don't know about that. January, $74. You're up to 90. I mean, you ran all the way up to 179. Now you're at 90. Intel, another one in the AI space. And look at this disaster. You know, I think you were at $30 at the beginning of the year. Yeah, somewhere around there. $37. You're at 19 now. I wonder how Vertiv's doing. Vertiv. But yeah, I'm not trying to find and cherry pick like, oh, the best possible example. What I did with talking about Supermicro was provide a relative example of a stock that literally just reported earnings the same day I made the video to discuss waning pricing power.
Little PP.
So I'm not looking to like cherry pick data. I'm looking to provide relative and recent data that's relevant and gives us insight into what's happening right now. My concern is Supermicro is going to start laying off people because they're going to have a little oopsie doopsie here with compression, is my guess. Yeah, I'll probably be covering the Elon Trump interview. Layoffs are surging higher than demand, crashes, and then downsizing. Yes. Lyft CEO announces launch of price lock features, allowing users to cap fares with subscription. Yeah, probably see more of that. Just going to hit their margin. What's your take on the robo-taxi event? Ugh. Not great. How could someone find the $500 strike on TQQQ? No, that was on the triple Qs. I didn't go for the triple leveraged. I think you'll have too much volatility to want to do that, but yeah, we'll see. All right, Anthony, I already answered that question. But, and now you're just spamming. So, talked about what the strategy was going for open. Patience, see what happens. See if that BOJ move actually lasts. I don't think I'm going to, as I said, I don't think I'm going to go for any calls at open, which I often do, just because I don't think that BOJ is going to be robust, the BOJ movement. And I might take the chance after, an opening rally to add to puts. That's what I said. So we will see. We will see. See, I have like a tiny, tiny starter position on a firm. It's actually like a fraction of the sizing I usually use. But it works out because yesterday you had Upstart for lending purposes run like 25%, which is wild. I want to see how Lumen's doing this morning. Just speaking of big runner, 41% in the pre-market. Yeah, look at this craziness here. So total meme euphoria, but oh, it's gonna rocket past 642. What's next? The 8s. The 8s. Yeah, probably. Interesting. All right, let's listen in over here.
And you're buying dollar, you're buying, and then you're buying baskets of potentially Magnificent Seven and stocks of that nature. But there's a look at the gain that the the dollar has on the yen this morning because of those comments. Again, just to hit them again from the Bank of Japan governor saying they will refrain from further rate hikes when markets are unstable, which, of course, that seems to be the case right now.
And so you've gotten basically, that would be Jay Powell saying, you know what, I saw the market on Friday, it was really bad. I saw the market on Monday. You know what, I'm going to have to take action. No, we don't do that because I think that we have a little better, what I would call decorum. But David, as soon as that statement was made, the VIX plummeted.
Yes.
Now, the VIX has been a very good proxy for the Mag 7, believe it or not. And may I just say that before we go crazy about the Mag 7, there's a super micro quarter, which indicates that one of the hyperscalers has put a lot of margin pressure on them, but the Blackwell will be late. They don't expect anything in the first quarter. And against that is Micron, which has been my my key to the market. People don't talk about it enough. Just resumed a big buyback. And Sanjay Mehrotra, I mean, he literally says there are improved conditions. This is the Japan Central Bank of our semis. You don't expect someone who's a very calm guy. I happen to like Sanjay. I got to tell you, family guy. When I talk with him, I mean, you just very quickly devolve. He asks me how my wife is doing. You always get in it with why? Because he is a calm, considered man. So for him to do this buyback here says enough already. And he has great credibility.
I mean, you can see what's happened to that stock, along with so many other.
That's been the leader. That's been the leader.
Had been the leader, and then you can see how much down from its peak. Yet still up, by the way, as we need to point out many times. This up 34% for the year. We come into trading with the S&P up 9.8%, and the Nasdaq up a very similar 9% for the year.
No panic.
Here we are. Your point on the VIX is an interesting one because. And Bob Pisani pointed this out many times. On Monday, we had the biggest spike, I think, in history.
Yeah, it was just
42 points at one point in the pre-open, at least as far as the data can go back on that. And then yesterday, it fell the most since I'm seeing here since 2010. By the way, is that?
Oh, that's Bounce Back Tuesday. All right, do you think real estate finally takes a hit? It depends where you are. It's going to be really location dependent. Texas, Florida, yes. Coastal California, much less so. Probably not. If you have the cash during a recession, it's an awesome time to buy real estate, says Rob. Wish I had bought more in 09. Yeah, 09 would be great. I don't think we're going to see that sort of move again. Mostly because the lending that we had going into this cycle is so much better. I see this more of like a .com risk. Let's see here. Do I pay attention to GameStops? Yeah, sometimes we click on it. Let's see how Micron's doing after their buyback announcement. Oh, okay, up about 4.8%. Lack of building is a detriment for real estate. Yep, San Diego's great. We just got a deal there. Did Kamala odds go up with walls? That's interesting. I wanted to make a video on them. And my thoughts on that choice. So Polymarket has Trump ahead by 5%, which is a pretty tight lead. And then on Predict It, Kamala's ahead by 6%, which in the last 24 hours, no, it's pretty stable here. Maybe if anything, actually down a little bit. A little tough to tell. Probably too early. It seems like a lot of Dems really like him. I got a letter yesterday that my last company gave me $15K in ESOP after leaving. Is it best to withdraw it or roll it over? Yeah, I talked to a CPA about that one, strategy for that. I don't like playing with retirement. Set and forget it is always my thought. With big players backing Harris, wouldn't it be in their best interest to keep markets up until the election? Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I don't know that I have the ability to do that. Location dependence. Yes. Exactly. All right, let's go into, I'm gonna go back to, let's see. Oh, I want to see how the yen's doing. Let's go yen to USD. It's almost where it was before the disaster on Monday. Okay. Okay, what do we got over here? Let's see what they say.
More of a normalization of the yield curve. But, you know, if you have a recession, you're looking more like a 20% decline, and it might take a year or two to recover. So that's really what we're grappling with if we want to put it into bigger terms for investors, at least from the broad market. So this feels like a garden variety correction. Right, I would need to see credit spreads blow out far further than they are right now. I would need to see leading indicators of the economy deteriorate far more significantly to be more concerned that this becomes something more significant.
Matt will lose his mind if I start forcing credit spreads, free market.
I like IG credit spreads. That's a very good point. Those are your canary in the coal mine, essentially.
Those are my canary. You know, they don't use canaries in coal mines anymore, if anybody was worried about it.
That's good.
We certainly need them
I think
for this
that's a
market,
good thing,
however.
right?
Brian, we got to leave it there. That is Brian Levitt of Invesco. Now, we have some breaking news that we want to point out to you. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau announcing a probe on JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America over Zelle scams. It's a broad and nature type of probe here, according to the Wall Street Journal reporting this morning. According to people familiar with the matter, JP Morgan had disclosed that it was responding to a CFPB inquiry, and other banks are expected to disclose their contact as well, Matt.
Right. They're investigating not only those banks, but all big banks and Zelle scams. And I mean, this is their job, right? This is what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was set up to do. So,
and at the end of the day, you know, more people are transacting online. Zelle is a third-party service that they're using, so all banks are now being brought
that's right. And we're looking at about $10 billion in scams in the U.S. economy alone per year. So it's become a serious problem, and it's growing quickly. I think it was $8.8 billion in the year before. So it's getting worse and worse, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is.
All right, another quick check on futures here. They're getting better and better. You can see the S&P futures up 0.2%. The NASDAQ futures up a little bit more than 1.4%. And the small caps gaining back a little bit. They had lost almost everything from that great rotation last month. Will they add to it? Let's get a look at the stocks moving ahead of the opening bell. The individual names for that, we go to Abigail Doolittle. Abby?
Well, Matt, let's start off on a stock that is certainly helping the futures this morning, and that is Lumen Technologies. Take a look at the stock, absolutely soaring up more than 40% in the pre-market. Now, interestingly, they put up a bigger loss than expected, a small sales beat, but most important, their free cash flow forecast off the charts. Investors really liking it. It looks like AI demand is helping out this telecommunications company. Let's take a look at an earnings mover to the downside, however, and that is Super Micro Computer, right now down about 14%. There was a 25% earnings miss on very, very disappointing gross margins. There were supply chain constraints in liquid cooling, plus a large customer mix. They actually boosted the sales outlook, but investors looking past that. And then in terms of why those futures are truly higher, at least relative to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, take a look at the three most valuable companies in the world, Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. Actually, I don't know about NVIDIA if that's in the third spot anymore, but in any case, big tech is making a comeback. I would point out, though, that, Matt, Apple lagging, that is the key stock to take a look at here in the days ahead to see whether or not the pullback has abated.
All right, you've been keeping your eye on Apple. Continue to watch that as well. Just above $200 right now. Abigail Doolittle, thanks very much for that. Coming up, Rivian's second quarter missed estimates slightly. I mean, we're talking about $1.16 billion in revenue instead of $1.17 billion.
Market doesn't like it, though.
In revenue, but the market doesn't like it. Maybe the cash burn is worse than expected. We'll talk to the CEO, RJ Scaringe, next. This is Bloomberg.
Rivian's got to do the circuit. Hey, man, we're making great EVs, and, yeah, we got a great runway, so, invest in us. Oh, boy. All right, well, about 15 minutes to go here. Oh, dear. I should run a poll. All right, let's run a poll. I'm bored. Okay, so we're going to run a poll on YouTube. After starting green, do we get a sell-off or rally today? Boom. Poll started. Let's see what y'all vote. It's on the YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, you can vote. If you're on the other platforms, you're not allowed. Not allowed to vote. I also don't know how to add polls to all the other ones, so. I swear it's not platformism. Oh, Airbnb right there on my 112, eh? Okay. Oh, BTC getting squeezed here, eh? Oh. Ho ho ho. Ho ho. Yes. Yes, my lord. Alright. David says it's going to be the opposite of consensus. Honestly, I can't really say we've got consensus here. New Call of Duty game. Is there a new Call of Duty? I usually don't play. Play Rust. Well, in the last month, I played like a day and a half. Well, like calendar day and a half. What is it? Black Ops 6? Is that the latest thing? Is it any good? I want a new Splinter Cell. That's what I want. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Gulf War. Oh, okay. So, should have some modern multiplayer. 16 new maps at launch. 12 core 6v6 maps. 4 strike maps. 2v2 or 6v6. Return of round-based zombies. Pretty cool. Tempting. All right, let's listen to Jimbo. He's awake now. Oh, thank you for saying you've been a proud course member for 3 years. Yeah, after all the crazy volatility the last couple days here, we're doing a super quick flash sale. If you're interested, check it out at meetkevin.com. That's gonna end tonight. Okay, let me end the poll quickly. So the poll came in at 55% sell-off and 44% rally. I'd say that's probably within the margin of error for just being, it's either going to go up or down. Kevin, you should get into sim with iRacing. Ooh. Let's see here. Oh, new Black Ops is coming out in November. Oh, okay, that's going to be a minute. Having a hard time trading. Any suggestions with staying positive? Smaller sizing. Yeah, smaller sizing will always make you... It takes the emotion out. Kevin, what was the quote on Palantir, Bryce? Pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was Palantir who said that. Let me see. AI ready. AI ready. So you have to look up Palantir's, not the last earnings, but the one before that. So if I'm wrong, I want to hear it. But if you're leaving comments saying I'm wrong and you don't have evidence for it, then I'd like to know that as well. So it was on the Q1 earnings call. Okay. So anyway, I'll look there for a sec. Let's go over here and let me listen to this in the meantime.
Making money. That's David, an important milestone for the company. And by the way, we can't not mention the fact that the studio has gone gangbusters.
Yes,
whether it's Inside Out 2
movies.
or the latest with Wolverine, with Deadpool and Wolverine. These are numbers that we haven't seen from a box office for quite some time.
Yeah, even though the movie theaters themselves are shabby, I find, and not up to snuff. And well, I will make this point. ESPN didn't bother me that much. Mm-hmm. You are right about the movies. David, not everything's going to work perfectly. And I don't think anyone out there who's at home and goes to the theme parks thinks that the theme parks are going to go away.
Of course not.
It's just very similar to what Comcast had. So what are you going to get? You're going to get the one issue that had been just really bugging me was streaming. Because it's like, maybe it's never going to happen. Then it turns out they did it a quarter ahead. Bob Iger, quietly, no showman on this one. Hugh Johnson telling me that things are fine. Well, David, if he tells me things are fine when they were at PepsiCo and I was concerned about something, then I knew I was wrong. Because he's money in the bank. I think you buy Disney off this and expect that now they de-risk the theme parks, that if you get other than
they've taken a lot of costs out of the business,
yes,
as we know, in part to get to that profitable number. They've also raised prices significantly yet again yesterday, announcing new price hikes for streaming, for the streaming service.
Oh, for the streaming's fine, but David, if we were this stock were at 110, I'd be saying, oh my God. Instead, I look at the analysts. Some of them believed that it would be bad. All of them did not. But at 110, this stock was really in danger. At 87, well, come on.
Yep.
This is a de-risk situation that our viewers should watch.
Yeah.
And then buy if it stays down.
All right. I would listen. I have obviously, the IP in the movies really can supercharge a lot of other things and help even with streaming, because you get these hit movies and you basically don't have to produce as much content because people want to go to the site to watch them. All that said, I will come back to the fact that so much of the commentary about the park trends right now is very poor.
But why didn't the analysts see it from Comcast Universal? Why did they keep their numbers up?
I don't know.
Comcast Universal in many ways has better things.
I have such a little interest in Comcast. I find it so interesting that they always talk about them. Let me flip for a moment. Let's go over here.
From their electrification strategies, and we see that is further. I mean, the most important point here is it further amplifies the need for more product in the marketplace. There's very, very little choice in the sub $50,000 price range, and we see that with just the dominant market share position that Tesla has with its Model 3 and its Model Y. Customers need choice, and so this is why we're so excited about the R2 program, because we think there's a tremendous amount of latent demand that wants to buy a vehicle, a lot like an R2, wants something that's less than $50,000. Okay. And that product, when it comes to market, it hopefully answers that need.
RJ, for most of the time that you and I have known each other and we've talked, Rivian has been in a position where it's been supply constrained. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's still the case on the R1 refresh. You know, you talked last night as a big factor towards gross profit being ASP, essentially, that these higher performance spec R1s are going to put you in a wider range of price points, but that will be a contributing factor. Is there a backlog, essentially, for R1? Are you supply constrained in that sense?
I mean, it's an important point. We've with the relaunch of what we call the Gen 2 R1, it's not just cost down. We've also added some new packages. We have a tri-motor, our new next generation quad motor is extremely high performance. That's allowed us to stretch the pricing band from our base, roughly $70,000 vehicle up to over $100,000 for our quad motor. And what that's really helpful in doing is helping to drive continual.
Okay, this guy's boring. All right, let's pull off this. Okay, so I found this Palantir section. It is actually interesting. So they're responding to sort of the market's opinion that only 10% of customers' data is AI ready to begin with. But they argue that their software does better day one dealing with customers' messy data. That's interesting. It's a good clarification. That is very interesting. And don't get me wrong, I think some of the best AI plays that exist right now, frankly, are Palantir and Tesla. I think those are actually real AI, probably followed by about Snowflake. So big fan of them, and they have a fortress balance sheet. I don't know that changes much, but that is interesting that they're basically saying the industry thinks 10% of data is AI ready. And they're saying, no, we can work with more data. So I don't know if that's a sales pitch or who's right, but I guess we'll find out. I mean, based on the last earnings call, it seems like, Palantir's onto something with their conversions and their forecasts. So we'll see. But that doesn't surprise me either, because I actually do think they have some of the best AI. But anyway, we're now 6 minutes from the open. 6 minutes. Micron up on stock buyback talk. Lumen 40%. It's crazy. Vertiv on the bounce. Even after Supermicro, that's crazy. Well, I guess maybe specifically because they were complaining about trying to scale their liquid cooling, and I'm pretty sure that's what Vertiv does as well. I don't know too much about Vertiv, but yep. So Tesla's holding on to what, about a quarter here, still holding on to 2.5 over here at Nvidia. In fact, if anything, you're kind of pushing up. You got a little bit of a trend up right here on Nvidia. Tesla can't figure out which way to go. Qs are sitting at 1.4. Airbnb loses the line, and IWM is trying to go somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. Bitcoin can't figure out a direction. Enphase 105. Affirm is up. Hood is up. Oh, back in the range, back in the channel over here. That'll be interesting. Meta up another 1.4. Amazon 2% today. Wow, Amazon. Okay. So Let's see what else here. AMD's up a couple percent. Taiwan Semi. Yeah, a lot of things are up a little bit here. So a lot of green after the Bank of Japan. Ooh, Nvidia rally. Almost 3% here. Going to 108.08. 108.08. That is the line. You must respect the lines. Always respect the lines. Next line's 188 for Amazon. Let's go. And Airbnb Bizzle loses the line. Oh my goodness. So, 4 minutes to go. Roman says BOJ, the Bank of the Pain. Well, I did a little bailout there. I'm trying to minimize the pain. Let's see here. So, look at all the blue wrenches. Yeah, Star Trek is as popular as Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. No one will approve self-driving 3,000-pound machines going 55 miles an hour. What? You don't trust the computers? Trust the you don't trust Elon, bro? Elon, man. Elon. He wants what's best for humanity. Therefore, you must give him all of your money so he could dump the stock. Trigger a 3-year downtrend. All right, here we go. Nvidia is coming up on 108.08. Look, it's trying to rally there before the market even opens. Bro, I got two more minutes to go here. Oh my gosh, Alejandro says, bought a super microcomputer. What? Why is Iran taking so long to retaliate? Yeah, some people think Iran might give up. Not they. Oh, there you go. They literally just ran to 108.08. Look at that. 3.5%. Dude, out of nowhere, Nvidia touches the line. Now, from here, next stop is the 120s or 101. So you're going to have the balls to short them. A little bit of a pop on multiple stonks, except for Tesla. Ooh. Oh, Apple
Lost the lead.
Womp, womp, womp.
The House of Pain. Fetch me.
All right.
The United States, but they had great direct-to-consumer. This is about brands, and brands that are timeless, that held up. I mean, interestingly enough, even though China's only 8% of the business, they were way up in China. Now, we didn't see that from Richemont. We didn't see that at LVMH. We didn't see that at Nike. At Burberry, you didn't see it. So the brand is very, very strong, and I think you're going to find that Patrice Louvet, once again, is going to be able to tell a fabulous, fabulous story. And the reason he can tell it, David, is because they've gotten rid of anything that is low end. They're all high end and they're quality. And I salute them. This is a terrific quarter, and I do think that you got growth mid to single digits. Look, they could really. They're never going to shoot the lights out, but they're consistent in a business that's episodic, and in a business that people.
Okay, boys and girls, here we go. Good luck today.
The Olympics is going to produce some very good numbers for them because of the high number of viewership that we know from Comcast.
Well done. Let's get the opening bell right now. Here's the big. Let's take a look for real-time exchange. We're going to have a lot more green on that board, given my pieces were. Doing the honors here, Abbott at the NASDAQ AI technology company, Hellport AI. That's listing via SPAC. Yeah, they still got some SPACs.
Have you looked at Fortinet today?
Yeah.
it shows
FTNT's up
cybersecurity. You know, they have
15%. I was seeing it up. Let me see what it's up right
very
now.
easy comparisons.
We've got a bunch of earnings.
What do we got? Nvidia is getting rejected by its line. Amazon trying to go back to its line. Sunrun and Micron red candle. Lumen up. Vertiv red candle. Oh, Nvidia's trying to come back. Tesla's green. Apple just went green. Wow. Wow, wow, wee, wah. Okay. Q's pretty hot. Oh, there goes Nvidia. It's popping above the line. And BTC's still in between its wedge over here. IWM, nah, Tom Lee's not buying today. Okay, Disney goes down 2%. TripAdvisor with the green candle, wow. Enphase green candle, wow. Upstart's holding on to 25. Meta's up 2. CrowdStrike's up 3, trying to move up. Palantir's trying to green candle. Google's trying to green candle. Everything's trying to green candle right now. Spy's green, pushing a nice green candle right here. Ooh, Tesla out of nowhere. Look at that. That was a thick candle. Ooh, juiced. Juicy, juicy. Okay. Ooh. All right, let's listen into the bizzles. Let's see them bizzles. Let's listen in here.
And it's down another 4 points today.
It's down in part because of this report from Supermicro.
Yes, it is. And they are competitors, as is HPE. I think it'll be quizzical to see if Michael Dell can't tell a great story, given the fact that in the end, you know who Michael Dell is? One of the most deliverable CEOs in our history.
Michael Dell is, I've said, he probably doesn't quite get the kudos he deserves in terms of one of the major business figures of the 20th/21st century.
And by the way, talk about kudos that he doesn't get. You have to go down to Texas to see how much this man is given.
Well, given. I mean, listen, Dell was in Austin, right? He came out into, I mean, Austin is now a technology center. It was not when Dell began.
That's him. So anyway, I think that look, I'm not saying that Michael Dell's going to have a good quarter for Dell Technologies. I am saying, a la Disney, that the stock is down a lot so that there are opportunities here. Can't stick my neck out for Dell after how bad Supermicro was, because I don't know whether they're equally as pressured on the gross margins by one particular hyperscaler.
Let's go to some other names that have been a favorite of yours in the past. Airbnb.
Yes.
That is getting hit. We're getting a lot of movement off of earnings.
This is travel.
This morning, and we're going to try to get to the biggest ones that we can.
This is travel.
And this goes back to shorter lead times, essentially, right? People are booking their trips not as long in advance, it would seem, at least that according to the commentary from Airbnb.
And that is a good tell for the fact that there's a lot of open homes that you can rent. Now,
Lots of open homes depends on where you are, good sir. It entirely depends. All right, so this is interesting. So far, Amazon is giving up. They ran above the line. They lost the line, and now they're falling. Which, again, my thesis going into today was I don't want to buy calls at the open, even though everything's freaking green. I don't want to buy calls because I think the Bank of Japan crap's going to fade. I could be wrong. Okay, Amazon's going back to 165.70. Micron rotating down after their buyback talk. Sunrun just tried moving up a chunk here after their, what's it called, earnings report yesterday. Lumen's now starting to fall, only up 37. I mean, only up 37. It's still really good, don't get me wrong. Drink some more coffee here. I'm getting tired. Getting tired of this craziness. Ooh, Dell. Trying to get a green candle out of Dell. What are we going to do, Dell? What are we going to do? Ooh, Amazon goes back to their line. Now, if I was bullish on the day, That'd be one I'd consider a call on. Not probably a few weeks out, but Nvidia, let's see if it gets rejected or if it breaks through the 108.08. It's going to be playing under this line, I suspect, today. But if it does, if we do have some bearishness that enters, you're probably going back to 101. Possibly within that, next few weeks, but who knows? Tesla's really trying to keep it up over here. Let's see here. Yeah, Tesla's trying to push. And Apple did go green. Nicely green here on Apple. Look at that, 210. Hot. Okay. Qs keep moving. Airbnb, Supermicro, both of them down 14%. Oof, Supermicro is going to go under 5 here potentially. Yikes. Enphase ran up about 6.5%. That's also pretty good. You got to give them that. Tesla, where's Tesla going? I mean, next stop for Tesla is like 221 if it can hold. Yeah, the big question today is going to be, will it hold? Will it hold the BOJ rally? We shall see. All right, let's try this suit. Somebody says Palantir broke out, did it? Oh yeah. Yeah, so you're a little bit in no man's land. 29.29 would be my target for Palantir. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Let's listen to them.
Absolutely. We're having a sign made for our office that says volatility is the friend of the long-term investor, because historically, just look the last 3 years. In 2022, it made sense to add to holdings and add risk back into your portfolio, which is what we were doing. 2023, we got another summer swoon in technology and growth stocks in general, and now we're seeing it again. I think, you can't underestimate the power of the hedge funds and the hedgies going to the Hamptons and pulling some of the volume out of the markets and increasing volatility. Then you've got this, the carry trade issue. But at the end of the day, it made sense. I mean, we had some real big pullbacks in the 1990s, but the NASDAQ was up 820-something%, and the Dow and S&P were up about 450% with higher interest rates. So 10-year between 5 and 8%, with higher inflation averaging around 3%, a labor shortage. What we haven't talked about, and what I thought was the bright spot from last week, is productivity. It came in well ahead of expectations at 2.3%. It was revised up, and that's, that put pressure downward on
Palantir 4%. It's looking good.
Pressure on inflation. Chairman Greenspan understood that. And so let's hope that this Fed does, because you can have, a GDP now of 2.9%, as it was recently revised up to, and you can have growth that is less inflationary than most people would expect.
Nancy, it's worth talking more about the macro. We're talking more about positioning. But another example here that I think is pretty fascinating is you look at a market in search for options. And on the flip side, you see some major pain in some of those consumer-focused stocks. You see Lumen Technologies, after a 90% surge yesterday, another 40% this morning. And I wonder how much money is just flocking to the AI names that work and bursting.
Yeah, Apple's almost up 2%. It's actually, it's up 2% now. Doing pretty well. So are the Qs.
I mean, that's what always happens when you have emerging technologies. And we learned that painfully at the end of the 90s when you had, analysts measuring eyeballs instead of earnings. And I think at the end of the day, stocks trade off of earnings. So in the near term, we have all these other, sort of shocks that drive the short-term returns, but long-term, companies trade off of earnings, and you need to own the companies that are going to survive this. And so, as obvious as it sounds, you want to own Microsoft because they'll buy the competitor that's leading edge.
True.
And they have leading edge technology themselves. But those are the kind of places where I want to hide. If you think the economy is slowing, and the GDP now number will go up and go down between now and the end of the quarter, but it is slowing. The labor market is softening. You want to own the reliable earners. And if you look at, consumer stocks, as you pointed out early, Pepsi, and Procter & Gamble, they have no more pricing power. And their earnings growth is going to be mid-single digits, and they're trading at 21, 24 times next year's earnings. I'd rather own Microsoft that's growing 15, 16% at 31 times earnings, just as an example. So it matters. You want to stay away from the new fractional companies.
Nancy, we thank you so very much for your time. That is Nancy Tengler, CEO and CIO at Laffer Tengler Investments. And it's interesting, Matt, it's not just Lumen that is rising today. You actually have every company in the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index rising this morning. The stocks is up more than the rest of the market, up more than 3%.
Yeah, good breadth today. I noticed 434 stocks are up right now in the S&P 500. So really ripping. This is Bloomberg.
It's ripping. You're gonna get demonetized, Kevin. Stay away from that crap. You're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna get mad at you, bro. You don't want them to get mad at you. The demonetization. Who cares about the monetization? Just provide good value. Just provide value. That is all we ask. Okay. What else? Let's listen over here.
Having sold and taught selling in my life, I never wanted to sue any of my customers. I always felt it was bad for close. It's hard to close when you're suing them.
He tweeted or whatever you call it now. He posted, "This is war."
He's starting to feel like Biff. Biff.
Yeah, Biff, not from Death of a Salesman, but from the Back to the Future.
No, from Death of a Salesman.
Oh, from Death of a Salesman.
Right?
Okay.
He's Biff.
Ah, got it. I was trying to figure out.
He's not, by the way, Lee J. Cobb. Unbelievable actor. Unbelievable.
A number of people have done that role quite well.
Yeah, but I've got to tell you, when you're Biff, you're not in this. You're like trying to steal pens and stuff. I am very, very upset when you sue an advertiser because
Lee J. Cobb was
because he's the father. Because what happened is when you sue them, it often comes up when you're trying to close. I'd like to buy ads, but you're suing.
Thank you, Arthur
so
Miller.
Maybe you
Let's
get
move
out of
on
being
now
sued
to
by buying ads. Maybe it's a
Rivian. Let's move on to Rivian. Why not? Down 6% on earnings. They previously reported the company produced 9,612 vehicles, delivered 13,790. They talk about that new JV they formed with Volkswagen.
Who's buying that stock? I mean, come on. You're really just betting on VW continuing to put money in.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and I'd rather buy Tesla, thinking that demand isn't that.
Oh no!
All right. No. Finally, we got Shopify, which I guess we should get to because we pointed out the stock is up sharply, Jim.
Right.
And I believe we are going to be joined by the company's president.
We sure are. Shopify shares are indeed surging. And I got to tell you something, David. I think that Harley Finkelstein may argue that the previous quarter wasn't as bad as the market said. This, though, is just a total reaffirmation of the old Shopify. The estimates handily beaten, and that's thanks in part to what I would say is a boost from, are you ready? What do you think helped him? AI.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Iverson, number 3. Harley Finkelstein, Shopify president, joins us. I'm going to call this a first on CNBC because I've not seen it anywhere. Okay. Harley, I would say congratulations, but isn't it true that this is just a continuation of what was a strong quarter that people didn't like last time?
I absolutely agree. I mean, this is the best version of Shopify, Jim. We're focused. We're executing on the plan that we set out last year, and you're seeing it on our results. But I think this quarter in particular demonstrates a trend that we can achieve both seriously meaningful combination of growth and profitability. And just on growth for a second, I mean, when you exclude the sale of our logistics business, revenue was up 20.
Boring.
Consecutive quarter of at least 25% top line growth. On the profit side, gross profit was up 25% as well to $1 billion, which grew faster than revenue. And then, your favorite question, how's it going on the free cash flow side of things? Our free cash flow margin more than doubled from last year. It was 6% to 16% this year.
It was almost triple, Harley. You're very conservative today.
Well, it's important now, whether or not, last quarter's results were there was an overreaction in the market or not. This is a Shopify that is growing. We can grow top line. We can grow bottom line. We're getting some of the largest brands at the enterprise level on. Point of sale is doing incredibly well. And I think these results demonstrate that the plan is working.
Okay, so people felt last time that you couldn't balance between revenue and profit. I think you showed them that you absolutely can. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's really important for us to make sure that you remember, if you go back to when you and I first started talking, 9 years ago at the IPO, let's say,
we both had hair.
Oh, I'm so bored. Okay, all right. So let's see what else there is here. So Zero Hedge says Goldman pours water on emergency rate cut hope narrative. Well, no kidding. They're not going to do that. That's already old news. The Fed ain't going to do that. This is just ridiculous. All right. What else here? Hamas chose a new leader. Rapid immigration, per Morgan Stanley, has helped buffer the U.S. economy from the effects of tight policy. Don Jr. says we're going to shake up crypto with something huge. DeFi is the future. Don't get left behind. I see what they did there. Left behind. Ho, ho, ho. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. What else? Let's see if the suits have anything. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Rotation out of growth and into value stocks is faltering almost as soon as it started. Oh, if only somebody could have warned of that. Growth has been having a pretty terrible time since the end of June as confidence in AI as a profit generator waned. Bounced back in the last few days since Monday. That's fine. Let's see here. NVIDIA is the only Mag 7 left to report, so it's likely that the negative pull from cautious earnings will fade. Much of that AI froth has left the markets as investors have turned more cautious. Goldman published an AI skeptical note on June 25th questioning whether AI giants were overspending on something unlikely to justify the effort. Well, that's what, what's his name, Zuck said as well. Worst performers have been Snapchat and CrowdStrike. Okay. Come on, baby. Daddy needs some news. Or a Mai Tai. Is it too early? I'm bored. I'm like the 8-year-old. Daddy, I'm bored. Blackstone sells 11 apartment buildings. So, to equity residential. Airbnb slides. So, Harris heads to Michigan. So, waiting in vain for a Volcker moment. Rather than encourage markets, this Bank of Japan thing, to increase a position that ultimately threatens financial and economic stability in Japan and well beyond, the goal of the BOJ intervention is to provide an opportunity to unwind the remaining excessive levels of such trade in a more orderly fashion. After all, the pause that the BOJ felt forced, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's boring. That configuration's not new. The system needs a Volcker moment, one similar to the early 80s, when the head of the Fed boldly signals inflation's grip on the economy and people's mindsets, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Boring. And then he's still got this Shopify dude over here. Goodness gracious. What's going on with Tesla today? Like, pick a direction, would you? It looks like it's trying to go to 197 by the close. I don't know. Anytime I see it go to 197, it goes to 195. So, it'll probably break through this and go to 195. Dell's trying to recover. Okay. Nvidia's still right under its line. Amazon's right on its line. Palantir gave up its breakout. Affirm's trying to recover a little bit. Yeah, you're sitting right at the line there on Nvidia. Apple keeps going, 2.25 now. So that's leading the Qs to be up. Airbnb is not going anywhere. Oh, Super Micro's trying to recover. 11.6. Ah, look at that. I've been talking about Bitcoin being in this wedge between the 200 SMA. Perfect bounce in the last 5 minutes on the 200 SMA. Perfect bounce. The bottom of it. Let's see here. Oh, Tesla's trying to go green. Disney's down 3%. Enphase 6. Hood 1.4. Upstart 26. Oh, that's pretty good. Where's our VIX? Do we have a VIX yet? I think we do. VIX dudes. Oh yeah, it's down more. Oh yeah. Cheaper options. Option price go down. Don't ya know? Don't ya know? Option get cheaper. VIX go down. Somebody says AMD's doing well. Let's see AM Dizzle. Ooh. Yeah, it was up about 2% in the Prima. Prima. That's what we're going to call it, Prima. And now it's up 4. That's double. Double? Did I hear double? All in? Snowball? Nobody knows? Nobody knows green better than Japan. Nobody knows Big PP better than Japan.
Nice PP.
Someone says, if you bought $10,000 of Disney stock 10 years ago, today, you'd have $10,000. Well, and some dividends, in fairness. There's some dividends. Ooh. Amazon's trying to leg higher. Come on, Amazon. Get it up, would you? Oh, Tesla lost the lead again. Boring. There's not much news. You know, the BOJ took all the thunder. Thunder. And I think, is this like Michael Bloomberg trying to prove something? Michael Bloomberg opinion piece. More black doctors will save more black lives. I don't, why is this necessary? What's he saying? I don't know. I'll read that a different time. Okay, Putin accuses Ukraine of provocation. Okay, what's new? This isn't news. And people are so bored. You got Michael Bloomberg talking about doctors. I don't know. Boring. Bluff Hanif says, stop yawning, man. Now I'm sleepy. Sorry. Super OG Nick. Kevin, 2.5 bear on a bear bull scale? Yes. Nothing has changed. I'm still a dirty bear and I don't want to be a dirty bear. Now I haven't gone full bear. Never go full bear. How long does it take to... We're so bored. The chat is now talking about how freaking long it takes to renew a passport. Rob wants to know about a house hack. It's going great. Somebody else says, I'm in the market for a home and I'm looking at townhomes in Sacramento. Should I pull the trigger or wait a couple months? Sac's slowing a little bit. But I mean, not personalized advice, but if there's a good deal, man, buy it. I literally just, Sac, I literally called an agent in Sac the other day. What was her name? I can't forget this girl's name. But anyway, I'm like, hey, got any offers on this deal? Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, wait, Kevin? Meet Kevin? Like, it's a fan, yay! That's always, I always enjoy those convos. It's fun to talk to people. Okay. All right. Tesla wants to give up on the BOJ. The BOJ rug pulled us. Yeah, oh, it's always MEAT, Kevin. For sure. It's part of my OnlyFans. You should see it. Thoughts on San Luis Obispo? Well, maybe one day I'll be able to actually pronounce it correctly, but I actually like Central Cali real estate. I want to buy there. I want to buy there. I want to buy... Where was the other place? I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. San Luis Obispo. There's another place like north of y'all. Oh yeah. Paso Robles, Paso Robles, and Templeton. Maybe less so Templeton, more Paso. Tascadero maybe. You know. Get some I mean, prices are a little lower in Santa Maria. I actually flew to Monterey the other day. Man, that place is touristy. That's where I did an escape room with Jack. That was fun. All right. Amazon gave up its line. Nvidia, I don't know, tanked for whatever frickin' reason off its line. Just trust the lines, bro. It's all in the lines. The Qs are trying to figure out what they want to do. I don't know. Bitcoin broke the 200 SMA. This is what I was saying. It's in a wedge. It either has to break 57,580 or it breaks the 200 SMA. Here we are. Time for a beer. Somebody says, WTF Palantir. What, you really thought it was going to keep going in no man's land? Come on, man. Palantir is funny. Like, it's a tough one to buy calls on, honestly. Like, it just, anytime I try, it's not robust. Like, it just doesn't stay as long as it should. So, I don't know. Apple, wants to keep going, though. So, gotta give it to them. Oh. Come on, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you can do it. Stay. No. You're the wrong way. All right. Tesla.
Lost the lead.
No.
Don't buy. House of Pain.
Why is my boo broken? Whatever. Oh, come on. Well, I guess the options I just bought at open are now starting to print. 18% on one of them. I don't know if it'll hold on to it, but it's pretty good. I'll take it. Yeah, if you want to know exactly what I'm buying, make sure you're part of the Stocks and Psych group. It's not personalized advice. I don't recommend you copy me. I close things way too early. BTC is still bearish here. But the whole point is just to give you ideas. Like, here's a potential trade. Here's a potential trade. Here's a potential trade. And then I'll just post the daily P&L. You can see it all in the Stocks and Psych group. Some days are up, some days are down, but the goal is every day provide perspective. So, hope you're there. Oh, there's your Palantir bounce. Look at that. On the 200 SMA, you bounce. And that's on the 1 minute. Let me see the 5. Oh, yeah, not on the 5, just on the 1. But I don't trust the rallies there. Qs want to keep going, man. They want to keep going. So, but we are doing a little flash sale, just sort of in honor of the Bank of Japan bailout here. So if you want to be part of the flash sale, go check it out at meetkevin.com. Meetkevin.com. Somebody says, Tesla bounce on the gap. Oh. All right. I don't think Bank of Japan very robust today. I think it is sell rip. Sell the profit. Sell into strength.
Double reamed. You're triple reamed. Selling spree.
Okay.
From Resi CEO Pablo Rivero and MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor.
Let's get a check on where the markets are right now. Seeing some decent gains here, 1 2/3% on the S&P 500, and some really good breadth as well. If you take a look at the S&P right now, the move function on your Bloomberg will show you that we have 458 stocks gaining. So almost all of them are up. The NASDAQ gaining 1.9%, almost 2% there. We know that the Russell's up as well. The 10-year yield at 393.73, and Shanali, as you point out, we're looking at 399 right now on the 2-year. Nope, just over 4% now.
Woo, we broke
on the 2-year yield. So investors selling off those treasuries that they were clamoring for on Monday.
But if you're buying that 10-year auction today, you're looking at 393. Might be below 4% for the first time in a while. Now, we're also watching Europe's most valuable company, Novo Nordisk. The stock needs a checkup after reporting disappointing sales of its blockbuster weight loss treatment, Wegovy. The company's CEO spoke with Bloomberg's...
Wegovy? Oh yeah, I read this morning their PP going down.
Little PP. Short PP.
They had to issue more discounts than the market expected. Oh, whatever. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's just boring. Just bored today. Just boring. What else? Mortgage application, 6.9%. Who cares? Okay, consumer credit comes in later today. Who cares? Tomorrow we get jobless claims. That's a good one. We'll look at jobless claims. And then after we get jobless claims, we'll get PPI and CPI. Hey, you know what you can't not have to spell PPI, right?
Nice PP.
PP. Oh. It's the evil, like, Santa Claus laugh. I'm 1.5 coffees deep here, and I'm just bored. Your thoughts on Intel? Has it bottomed? I will decide before the election what I think about the bottom. Watch, it's October. Everything's at all-time highs. And I'm like, damn. Tesla's 400. You think it's worth waiting for rates to drop before going on your first house? Why? Who cares, dude? Rates go down, refinance. The rates shouldn't decide if you buy or not. I mean, obviously beyond affordability. Good deal. Kevin, why so much faith in Ubiquity? Your mom? Yeah, I actually think their inventory channels filled up so substantially that they don't have to add inventory for a while. As much. So I think you'll see a lot of nice cash flow. Max asks about the Chinese carry trade. Dude, every carry trade that has to unwind, I don't give a crap if it's China or India or Russia or your mom's carry trade. I don't care. No carry trade frickin' matters if the U.S. market is strong. If the U.S. market is not strong and you get just a few sellers, the stonks will go down. Simple. And I think there is a lack of buying power. People spent all their money because they're like, oh, look at that $6 trillion or $1 billion or whatever it is. Isn't it? It's like six. Is it 6 trill? I think it's 6 trill. Look at all this money sitting on the sidelines. Money market. I'm gonna go in before them. Little do they know. Yeah, it's trillion. Little 6.4 trillion. Little do they know, a lot of that is cash equivalents at banks or at companies. It's not actually investable cash, and so investable cash is at record lows that we haven't seen since the .com bubble. But you know, whatever. Zero Hedge says, which way does the 10 a.m. algo go? And then they reply and say, sell it is. Yeah, there's not a lot of buying power right now. It's the problem. Iran. Muslim states should support the right to respond to Israel. Okay, Iran. Frickin' baby. It's not our fault you put a terrorist in your capital. Alright. So, what else? Lumen's holding on to 35. You got to give them credit. They're holding on. Holding on. Warren Buffett has some buying power. Oh, yes, he does. Oh, Warren. Warren. Okay, what else? BTC's your signal, folks. Somebody says, Nick T posted. Didn't you just post about mortgage rates? And your boy Kevin needs something stronger than coffee. Well, that's what I'm going to do right before the... never mind. Average 30-year mortgage fell to 655. Ooh. Still sucks. Still sucks. See, that sounds like still. See, Jim Cramer said this morning he'd rather buy Tesla. Frickin' stock's down 0.75% now. Q's still holding on to 1.9. Ugh. All right.
Just close the fucking door. Close the door.
Go yourself. Is that clear?
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services which we may benefit from. I personally operate and actively manage ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Flash sale, expires today.
Nice PP. But,
Kevin, credit question. It's after my disclaimer, bro. In a recession, would the highest echelon of credit users be able to refinance? Yeah, you can refinance almost in any environment. It's just the what they charge you, and as to whether or not you want to do it gets really challenging, you know? So like the fees and stuff go on and the spreads go ridiculous. Kevin, shut the F up. Our Congress is ran by, okay. Israel, I mean, I might be right. Israel lobbyist, and you think it's okay for Israel to attack Iran and embassies left and right without them responding? That's not what I said, jackass. I said the leader of Hamas is dead. He's a terrorist. It's a designated terrorist group. He's dead. He got killed. I said nothing about being okay to attack Iran. I said the leader of a terrorist group got killed. Okay? That's all I said. God.